Okay, ma'am. What is the portion?
The portion is the entire chapter, like whatever we did, right? I'll be asking you the general questions. Just go through the assignments as well. Like whatever questions I've asked in the assignments, I would like high chances are there I will be repeating that. Okay. So question will be something like that. For example, where cotton textile industries were there, right? Cotton textile industry. The random question, the MCQ questions will be there. So you have to study everything. And today I'll just cover this portion, and also after that I'll just give you overview of the chapter, like how we studied. Because I missed out the things in between, so there is like little bit two portions were left. So I will just again give a recap like how we did at the entire chapter and what are the most expected questions that can come that I can ask. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. And whenever you're not getting anything, just don't think like if Amos is saying yes, ma'am, I'm getting it. Others, if you are not getting it, just say no, ma'am, we are not getting it. Okay? I want everyone to respond yes or no, ma'am, getting it, ma'am, not getting it. I'll feel good if you say, ma'am, no, I'm not getting it, so that I can explain you again. Right? So come up with your doubts. It would be great. And today I am not asking everyone to switch on your camera because I was not forcing you people. But from next class, make yourself comfortable. Like sit in that place where you can switch on your cameras. Okay, and everyone will join within 5 minutes, right? And nobody will be late because I don't feel good when you people join late because I feel like you are missing, like you missed out something, right? So it's of no use if you are coming in between, right? Okay, so I've given a good lecture now. Now you people will be like, now it's okay, we'll manage. So thank you for wearing me, and I'm expecting you people to be more responsible from next class. Okay, though you are responsible, but yeah, few things we need like assignments. You people are lagging, so you have to complete it on time. Okay, and nobody will absent them. As I've told you, I'll be taking tests. Don't absent yourself. That okay, it's a test, so we will skip it. No, you have to come in class no matter what you are getting, but at least you'll get the questions which I'm asking. You'll get the question. It will be a practice session for you. Okay. Okay. So yeah, basically we were doing the demographic thing. Okay. So demographic things we did 3 stages: first, second, and third. First stage, what was that? Birth rate and death rate both were high. Why birth rate was high, bam? Because like there was no family planning. People were like there was nothing. So there was no information related to family planning and all that. So birth rate was really high. And similarly, death rate was really high. Why? Because once I fell sick, there is no treatment. Right? So of course everybody the life expectancy was very low at that time. So birth rate, death rate both were high. Second stage, what happened? Death rate came down because medical facilities came, right? But somewhere birth rate remain high because information is something. It's like, for example, I gave you information. It will take time. From next class onwards, it won't be implemented. It will take time. At least 2 or 3 classes will take to implement all the things which I mentioned, right? The information I gave you. Similarly, people like if information was given to people, but it took time. Like people took time to adapt it, right? So that's why second stage birth rate was high, but death rate came down. And third stage, people were informative, like people were like knowledge, they had the knowledge of family planning and all that. So birth rate also came down, and similarly, medical facilities improved. So death rate remained down. Okay. So this was the demographic structure basically. So now we will be doing quantitative. Now in India, before 1921, it was first stage, and after 1921, it was second stage, right? And next is quantitative appraisal of India demographic profile during the colonial period. So what was the basically quantitative means the number. The death rate was 20%, but birth rate was 50%. Like that, the numbers will be doing. Neither the total population of India nor the rate of population growth during the second stage of demographic transition was very high. So what was happening? See, if 100 birth rate and death rate both are high, that means if 100 people are being born, 100 people are being dying, right? So what is happening? It's zero. Population was not getting because both birth rate and death rate was high, right? So neither the total population of India nor the rate of population during the second stage of demographic transition was very high, right? It is something that it was not affecting the population. Why? Because birth rate was very high. Similarly, death rate was like it was slowly and slowly coming down. So in the second stage itself, like total population was not that much affected. Clear? But the various social development indicators was also not quite encouraging. right? So coming to population, you can say total population was not affecting because everything was not manageable. Right now, why population is increasing? Can anyone tell me why right now population is increasing in such a, like, you can say, uncontrollable way? Anyone? Any idea? Like why?
Ma'am, no family planning.
No family planning plus, okay, no family planning. That means lots of people are taking birth, right? But what about death rate?
Death rate has reduced.
Death rate are decreasing. That's why. See, if people are growing, like new people are being born, but the old people, like there is no death rate. So what will happen? Automatically the population will increase, right? Earlier, if 10 people were born, like there is 10 new people in the country, then 10 people were dying. So it was a balance, right? Birth rate, death rate, both were high. It was a balance. But right now, people are borning, but there are technology, medical facilities. There are people, like there are high chances that that person will be saved. So death rate is totally low. Why? Because we have lots of medical facilities nowadays. So that's why our population is increasing, right? But at that time it was normal. Birth rate was high, death rate was high, no proper, nothing was proper. So it was like it was not affecting population. But right now people are growing, but death rate are less. So nobody is like leaving the earth. So population is getting increasing day by day. Okay, got it? Yes,
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
maybe. Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So now coming to population. Population, we got to know that total population, it was not high, not low, nothing, right? But some other factor, demography not include birth rate and death rate. Some other factor it was like literacy, infrastructure, health, like that. So first, low level of literacy, right? The overall literacy level was less than 16%. Can you guess? Out of 100, only 16%, even less than 16% of people were illiterate, right? Out of this, the female literacy level was negligible, low of about 7%. See, right now what people do, one is like total literacy rate. That will consider both male and female, but other one is female literacy, right? So at that moment, out of 100, only you can say less than 16% people were literate, right? But now coming to female literacy rate, only 7 out of 100 females, only 7% females were literate. So the ratio was totally, like you can say, worse, right? So right now we are doing quantitative. So that means you need to remember the data as well, like 16%, 7%. Because as the heading says, quantitative. Quantitative means you need to mention the quantity, right? So low literacy rate. So level, that the overall literacy, you can say it was less than 16%, but female literacy, coming to female, it was less than, or you can say negligible, because 7% is out of 100, 7 marks. It's something, it's like you are getting failed. It's like you are getting zero. It's equal to zero. So something, it was at a negligible low of about 7%. Okay, was negligible. Clear? Literacy rate.
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, lack of educate. Educate means too much. Okay. Or you can say required one. Okay. Educate is requirement. For example, if I have 10 people in my house, I need at least 2 or 3 hospitals in my country. Right. If my population is 10, I need at least 2 or 3 hospitals. But for 100 people, there was only one hospital. So, educate means required. It was not required. Right. Not required means according to the requirement, right? If there are 100 people, at least we should have 20 to 30 hospitals in a country, right? But for 100 people, it was only 1 or 2 hospitals. So adequate means requirement level, it was according to demand, supply was very low, right? So lack of adequate, or you can write inadequate. If you don't want to write lack of, you can even write inadequate, right? Inadequate public health facilities. So public health facilities was either unavailable to large chunk of population, or when available, very highly inadequate. See, either it was like there is no hospital in my locality, or even if was available, it was far away, or it was like, for example, for 100 people, it was only one hospital, or it was like for 10 people, it was zero hospital, like that. So public health facilities were either unavailable to large chunk of population, or when available, like though it was available but it was inadequate. It was not like I was not able to meet the supply and the demand. Okay, it was not sufficient. Adequate means sufficient, right? Consequently, water and airborne diseases were rampant. Rampant means too much, right? And too huge toll on life. So what was happening at that moment? Water and airborne diseases were too high. Because of that, see, if I'm getting sick, I need medical facilities, right? But what was happening? There was no medical facilities. There was either zero or inadequate, right? So you have to write consequently, like similarly, water and airborne diseases were rampant and took large toll on life. Large toll on life means toll, the tax toll and all that. Whenever you cross any highway, there is a toll one, right? So toll means it was costing life. For example, if there are medical facilities, I fall sick, right? Anybody can fall sick. I fall sick and I went to hospital, I got treatment and that was fine. But though there was inadequate health facilities, medical facilities, it was costing the life of people. Because if once I get, once I got this diseases like airborne diseases or waterborne diseases, then there was no treatment for me because there was no medical facilities. So what was happening? Because of public health facility, lack of public health facilities, people, it was costing the life of people, right? And took a huge toll on life means it took, or you can write it was costing life of people. Okay, clear? Adequate health facilities, inadequate, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Next one is mortality rate. See, there are two terms you'll be getting in economics. One is mortality rate and one is, what is mortality rate? Mortality rate basically means death rate. Okay. And the other one is birth rate. So birth rate is basically fertility rate, right? F is for birth rate and M is for, somewhere the Hindi word death means moth. Okay. So M is moth, death rate. Okay. Clear? If someone know Hindi word, then you can relate it. Mortality means death rate and fertility means birth rate. How you can remember fertility? When you were in 10th class, you did the reproduction chapter, right? So there was fertility and all that. So fertility always means birth rate and mortality means death rate. Clear? So high mortality rate was there. Okay? The overall mortality rate was very high, and in that, particularly the infant mortality rate. What is infant mortality rate? We'll be discussing it. Was quite alarming. About 218 per thousand in constant to the perform instant mortality rate of 40 per thousand. Okay, infant mortality rate is basically when like the newborn baby, right? When he gets, like for example, he born, right? He was born, but during the birth he got expired or something like that. That is infant mortality. Like if anyone who is less than 1 year, if he is getting died, then it is infant mortality rate. Okay, we'll discuss it. I'll let you know, people. But there was a high mortality rate, right? So what you are going to write over here? The overall mortality rate was very high, and in that, see, mortality rate is death. That is whether a young person, whether an old person or a baby, no matter what, death is death, right? So overall death rate was high, but in that, the ratio of the newborn baby was very high. The infant mortality rate was very high, right? Bye. Okay, so basically infant mortality rate was very high. So you just have to write was quite alarming. Clear?
Yes,
Everyone?
ma'am.
Okay. So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. Okay, so first you will write quantitative appraisal of demographic profile during the colonial period. First you will write population. Okay, so you will write neither the total population, see, first, second, third and fourth. Okay, so population, what was population? Total population of India, nor the rate of population growth during the second stage was very high. Just write it this. Second, you will be writing low level of literacy. Third, you will be writing lack of adequate health facilities. And third, you will be writing high mortality rate. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so quickly write it down. Be very quick because we need to cover lots of things. Seth, good evening. Am I audible to you?
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Others done. Hiba, Mohammed, Saif, Adab, Mariam.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Adab done. Saif, Mohammed Ayan, Mariam.
Done, ma'am.
Mariam done. Saif and Mohammed Ayan done. Yes, no, maybe. Am I audible to you people?
Yes, ma'am.
Done? Okay. Now, basically, you can see over here, right? These are the few things. Now, third and fourth things which we are going to do. Fourth is low life expectancy, right? So, what was happening? Life expectancy was very low. Can you tell me why life expectancy was very low? For example, if life expectancy is 65 years, right? I was my age was 45 and I fell sick. There was no medical facility. So I will die at the age of 45 itself, right? Because no medical facilities are there. So low life expectancy, why there was low life expectancy? Because we knew that once you fell ill, there is no medical treatment, then you're going to die. So there was life expectancy was very low because there were so many diseases going on. So people were dying at so early age, right? So life expectancy was very low, 44 years in constant to the phase of 68 years. 68 years. Right now, it is 68 years, or you can say 70, 80. But it was 44 years in that time. 44 years, it's very young age, right? Right now, it's like 70, 80, 90, right? You can write 68 plus. But over there, at that moment, like at that time period, it was only 44 years. Clear? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And next part is extensive poverty. Poverty is basically everyone was poor. So extensive poverty prevailed in India during the colonial period, which contributed to the worsening profile of India's population at the time. So most of the population was under poverty line, right? So you can write extensive poverty. You can write extensive poverty was very high in India. Prevailed means it was all over. It was not only for one part or two part. It was prevailing means all over the India. So extensive poverty was very high in India during colonial period, and most of the population was under poverty line. Okay. So instead of writing contributed this and this, you just write most of the population was under poverty line. Okay, I'm just writing here the keywords. What you're going to write is most of the people were okay. So most of the people were under poverty line. Okay, poverty line. So quickly write it down, fourth and fifth.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, I hope everyone got it. Right, everyone, that's done. Okay, so now we are going to do this occupation structure, okay, which is the last, you can say. Students, I just forget to mention few things which I'll mention you. We have done roads, we have done railways, we have done the seaways and all that. So that comes under infrastructure. So wherever you have written that portion, just mention their infrastructure. Okay, so that you'll get an idea that what was the infrastructure, right? Clear? So quickly do the correction. Like you just before the road part, just mention infrastructure. Okay.
Ma'am, where?
You have written roads like before railways. Not today. You have written it earlier, right? Before the railways portion, you have written roads. So before that, just write it down like hashtag infrastructure.
Okay.
Right? You got it? Everyone got it? Like where you have written railways, just you have written the headings of railways, right? Like whatever questions was related to railway, the motive and all that. So you have done roads, that Britishers developed road and all that. Everyone got it? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. What should we do?
You just have to write before that, just inside you can just write infrastructure. Okay, so that you'll get an idea that from there, from roads onwards, the infrastructure topic was there, right? So wherever you have written road portion, right, you just mention, just write infrastructure. Just give it a heading inside that from here infrastructure portion started. So roads, railways, inland ways and all that comes under infrastructure, like the telegraph and all that, that comes under infrastructure.
Okay, ma'am.
Others got it, like Heba, Mariam, Mohammedayan.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now basically the last portion, occupation structure. Mariam also got it. Okay, so she was not there. So okay, occupation structure during the colonial period, right? So what was the occupation structure? The occupation structure means the distribution of working person across India, across different industries, sector, agriculture. Now basically there are different sectors, right? Few of the people will be engaged in agriculture, few of the people will be engaged in agriculture, industries, manufacturing. So what is basically it is industries, agriculture, manufacture basically means industries, because in industries we manufacture something, right? So agriculture, manufacture, service. So there are three sectors, right? So basically we have three sectors. So during colonial period time, people were engaged in which sector, right? So the salient feature of India's pre-independence occupation in India, like before getting independence, when we were under colonial period. First, little sign of change. The agriculture sector account for the largest share of workforce. So, three sectors are there: agriculture, manufacture, which is also known as industrial sector, and next one is service sector. Right? Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Oh yeah, so sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so little sign of change. So what was happening? Like before, like we did, like 80% of the population was engaged in agriculture, right? So when it was like when Britishers came, it was the situation. But when Britishers started ruling out, what happened? So it was a sign of change. Agriculture sector account for the largest share of workforce, which usually remained high to 70 to 75%. While manufacturing and service sector account only 20 and 50 to 20%. So this is what you have to remember, that during like colonial period, Agriculture, most of the people were engaged in agriculture sector. So 70 to 75% you can say agriculture sector, and remaining 15 to 20 or 10. See, while manufacturing and service sector accounted for 10. So this 10 is for manufacturing, and this 15 and 20 is for service. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So everyone got it? So what you are
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
write, like first thing is that little a sign of change. So you just remember three things. We have three sectors. Occupation. In occupation we have three sectors. First is agriculture. Second is manufacturing, which is also known as industrial sector. Third one is service. Service is basically like teaching. Doctors, lawyers. They comes under service, right? So what was the share? You just don't just remember one thing. Agriculture sector largest share 70 to 75%. And then manufacture sector, it is 10%. And then service sector, it is 15 to 20%. Clear? Just no need to write all this here. Just write like this. Salient features of India's pre-independence occupation structure. Right? So first, little sign of change. Just write agriculture sector, largest. And in bracket 70 to 75%. Then manufacture sector, hashtag industrial sector, 10%. And service sector, 15 to 20%. Just quickly write it down. Just a minute, just before that, just write the heading occupation structure during colonial period. Okay, just write it down, and then like sometimes the questions comes like this: what do you understand by occupation structure? So after that, write about occupation sector structure. Occupation structure means the distribution of working person. Okay, so occupation is basically what work I am doing, right? So occupation structure means how people are distributed according to their work, right? So occupation structure means distribution of working person across different industries and sectors. Or you can write like occupation structure means how people are distributed in different sectors. We have basically three sectors: agriculture, manufacturing, or service. So how people are distributed: agriculture, how many people are working; industrial, how many people are working; service, how many people are working. So this is what known as agriculture structure. Clear? So first you'll write about agriculture, occupational structure, and after that you'll give the heading: the salient features of India's pre-independence occupation structure. First, little sign of change. Agriculture sector, just write it like this. First, agriculture sector, largest share and the ratio. Then second, manufacturing, 10%. And third, service, this 15 to 20%. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, others getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, quickly write it.
Done, ma'am.
Others done?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, I hope everyone got it. Right? Everyone is done. Okay. Now we'll start with like last one. This was basically like how it was distributed all over the India. But now we will do according to regions. Okay, it was somewhere all about the India, but now according to regions, like for according to the states. Okay, so what was happening? Parts of Madras Presidency right now, the present day are Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka. Okay, so at that moment it was Madras. Okay, but nowadays it is like the area of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka. Okay, Bombay. So first was Madras, second was Bombay and Bengal. Witnessed the decline in dependence of workforce on agriculture sector with the commencement increase in manufacturing and the service sector. So what was happening in this region? Madras, you know, present day it's Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Karnataka. So basically Madras, Bombay, and Bengal. What was happening in these states? Basically, people were shifting from like agriculture workforce was coming down, and people were shifting to industrial, like the manufacturing and the service sector. Okay. However, this was for this situation, and however, there was an increase in share of workforce in agriculture states in Orissa, Rajasthan, and Punjab. So you are not going to write each and everything, right? You are going to write only few lines. Okay. So what you are going to write over here? Growing regional variation. So you will write names: Madras, Bombay, and Bengal. For Madras, you will be writing Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, like present day. What was happening? Decline in agriculture sector, like decline of workforce in agriculture sector, and workforce was increasing in manufacturing and industrial sector, right? But for this Orissa, Rajasthan, and Punjab, what was happening? There was increase in workforce in agriculture sector. Okay, so how you're going to write? First, you're going to give the heading, like the first point, second point, and after that you'll write Madras. Okay, and the bracket the names, present day names, Bombay, Bengal. What was happening? Increase. You'll write increase in increase of workforce in agriculture sector and decline of workforce in industrial and manufacturing and service sector. Then you will write, this will be the first point and this will be the second point for this. Then you will write Orissa, Rajasthan, and Punjab increase in workforce in agriculture sector. Clear? This is how you are going to make notes. You are not going to write all the theory portion. Is it fine with everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Could you repeat that in the bracket? Increase?
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. So how you are going to make notes for this? First, you are going to give the heading. Growing regions like this. Yeah, I'll just erase everything. Huh? Actually, it's getting messy. Okay. So you are going to write growing regional variation. Okay. And after that, you are going to write 2 points over there. First, you will write Madras Presidency, and in bracket you are going to write these like this: present day Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka. Okay, and after that Madras, then Bombay, then Bengal. What was happening over here? What was happening? Agriculture workforce was increasing. In your own language, you have to write workforce was increasing. Yeah, increase in workforce in agriculture sector and decrease in workforce in industry. Decrease in workforce in agriculture sector and increase in workforce in agriculture, manufacture and service sector. And then for second point, you are going to write Orissa, Rajasthan, Punjab, and then equals to what was happening over there? Increase in workforce in agriculture sector. Clear? Now it's clear,
Yes,
Amos?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now it's clear.
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Oh. So quickly write it down.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Everyone done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically now we are done with like we have done lot many things. Okay. We started with first agriculture sector. Then second, what we did? Anyone who remembered? What happened? Anyone? Like you can use your notes. You have written, I think.
Ma'am, what did you ask?
Yeah. Firstly, we started with agriculture sector, right? So I was just giving you a recap, like what we did. Okay, I have my screen with. Just a minute. Okay, so I was just trying to give you a recap of everything so that you can prepare well. Okay, so we started with this. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
just take
Yes,
you
ma'am.
one more minute and then I'll just end the meeting. Okay. So we did, yeah, we started with the low level of economic development, like what was the condition of India. So India basically was dependent on handicraft industry. So how handicraft industry came down and everything we did. And the economic policies which colonial government adopted, like what was the impact of that policies in India. We did that. And after that we did agriculture sector. What was the agriculture sector? Basically there was low productivity, and what was the reason for low productivity? We did that. And after that we did industrial sector. So what was the situation of industries, right? And whatever, like deindustrialization was there, like Britishers never promoted industries in our country, right? So what was the motive for deindustrialization in India? Like what was the motive of Britishers? We did, but later on few modern industries was there. So what were the modern industries? Like basically you have to learn that and where they were established, everything. And after that, whatever industry policies Britishers like adopted, there was a shortfall, there was a negative point for all that. So what was that? And after that we did India's foreign trade. What was foreign trade of India? What was the structure, like with which how much trade was done with Britishers, how much trade was done with other countries, structure, volume and direction we did. And after that we did this road part we did. And after that we did volume and direction, and then we did road part, right? That modern roads and all that, right? So this is what I was talking about. Britishers, here from here onwards you have to write the infrastructure. This was basically the infrastructure, right? So into how railways was introduced, what was the main motive of introduced, like how once railways were introduced, what was the effect of railways, and what was the effect of inland trades and all that. So roads, railways, inland and all that comes under this. Okay. And after that